I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
And this is
Black Sabbath. Snowblind.
This is 70s Black Sabbath. Apparently System of a Down made a, what do you call it?
A cover?
A cover of this song.
Really?
Yeah. Could have had it doing covers with, but what do you do? What can you do?
The list for covers week is so big we couldn't get through it if we did covers year.
If you say so.
It's a giant list. Everybody's like, just in case you were looking for something.
Yeah.
A bunch of people have done it. I'm like, I'll add it to the list.
Thank you very kindly. Okay. Alright, so this is Snowblind, Black Sabbath. For timely topical political commentary, you can hit us up at Middle America with Vin and Sori.
True. Ready?
Let's do it.
Let's turn up really loud.
What you get and what you see,
freaking Iommi.
This was probably one of the craziest relationship songs I've ever heard.
Well, I mean, it technically is kind of a relationship song when you think about it.
Yeah, because you could tell people didn't want him in that relationship with her. Or him, I mean, I don't know what.
Okay, now you're carrying me that too far. Go back, please.
I was hoping you believed me.
No.
Okay, pull up those lyrics.
Because
this is obviously about cocaine.
I wish you didn't do that. I almost feel like this is your lack of trust in the audience to get the metaphor. I feel like they thought it was such a great metaphor, but they wanted to be recognized for the metaphor. So the guy basically had to say cocaine.
But let's just whisper it in there.
Yeah, it's like people would have got it. What is it that Beatles thing is? Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
Yeah, there was one about Blue Boss or something too.
That's LSD, right?
Oh.
Lucy in the Sky with LSD, you know.
Yep.
You know,
well,
like
they were banking on an audience of Soris.
Yeah, I feel like the Beatles had more respect for their audience. They could like drop those subliminals in there without, hey, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about cocaine. Okay? So when I say snow, what I'm really talking about is cocaine because it's a powdery white substance. that's why. Shout out to Black
Oh
Sabbath.
my goodness.
There's
no mystery here.
It's just ridiculous. The king of subtlety had to be Biggie Smalls. He said, "Gotta go, Coolio. Mean it's getting too hot. If Faith had twins, she'll probably have 2 pox. Get it? 2 pox." Because there was some rumor that Tupac and Faith had gotten together. So you see the subtlety there, but hiding in plain sight.
You should have had somebody say Tupac.
But even
Biggie,
even Biggie though had a because Biggie sometimes would stop the song and say, "Get it?"
Oh, he did?
Yeah. So he goes, "Gotta go, Coolio. Mean it's getting too hot. If Faith had twins, she'll probably have 2 pox." And then he goes, "Get it? 2 pox?"
Oh, he did. Oh.
Yeah, he does that in the song. He's like, "You guys are too."
He's like, "I want to make sure
Negroes are too
you
dumb.
get the excellence of
You
these
get the
lines."
excellence of my line. Because he wanted people to know that he didn't really care if his wife was inseminated by another man. Okay, back to Snowblind. So blow is another nickname for cocaine. Like every single. Apparently, when you take cocaine, you get cold. It says makes me happy, makes me cold. So does it drop your blood pressure or something?
I have no idea.
How could you not know?
I never asked people how does it make you feel. I just assumed it makes them feel good, and that's why they keep doing it.
Okay,
Like,
so
I didn't ask anybody.
I'm on my. It says it alters body temperature and behavioral thermoregulatory responses. Okay, so cocaine injected spent less time in the warm environment than did control animals, but had significantly lower core body temperature.
So, yeah, it makes you feel cold.
Results suggest that the cocaine treatment may lower thermoregulatory set point. Wow. So your body basically says, hey, this is where we're gonna kind of hang out. I think it's like 96 something degrees or whatever, and it's basically
98.6.
98.6, yeah. And it basically stays there, but I guess coke.
I need to know that.
I guess cocaine lowers it, so maybe it's 96. Who knows? Okay, so icicles within my brain, feeling happy in my pain. So it's all these. See, this is really interesting because isn't this kind of the period where all the rockers, they were all doing drugs and experimenting with drugs and all that in the 60s and the 70s?
Yeah.
I forgot what it was called or whatever. So like something sort of era where they were all like, it's such a strange thing because I was brought up in the whole Just Say No era. Mm-hmm. So it's such a strange thing to me that a big giant band like this could come out and like basically preach the gospel of cocaine. And it'd be one of their biggest songs. It's so crazy.
I actually didn't like it because of that. I think because, a lot of the people that we talked to that were addicted to stuff, I really didn't ask them which substance they were addicted to. First of all, there's 1,000 names for everything, or so it felt.
Right.
And at the time,
Right.
I thought that, you know, well, weed is also called THC. Is that what is it?
I'm pretty sure THC is like the active ingredient in weed that makes weed.
Yeah, well, sometimes they would call it THC, and then sometimes they would say weed. You know, when they were trying to tell me that they weren't on anything,
Yeah.
they were saying, I'm just on THC. When I was like, what THC? It took me a while to, like, figure out, you know,
Yeah.
what everything, and even still I'm confused by what everything is because there's so many different names.
Right.
But just knowing, just seeing the effects that it had on people and stuff, like, it just makes me sad. First of all, what happened to this person? Did they end up dying of drugs, or did they? What happened to them?
I mean, this is Black Sabbath. This is Ozzy. Ozzy's still
so
around.
He's still around.
I mean, his mind is completely shot. I mean, if you hear him talk, it's. But I don't know how much of that is, you know.
And how much is drugs.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, he had this show, like a reality show on MTV, but they had the subtitle at the bottom when he was talking.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't. But yeah, I mean, to my knowledge, nobody in the band had like a tragic death due to a drug overdose or anything like that. But this song is definitely.
Oh my gosh! It's been covered by System of a Down, Black Label Society, Converge, and Sleep. Well, everybody's doing this cocaine song. What?
But I'm assuming this is a classic Black Sabbath song though. Like I'm assuming this is like one of the things that you put on the short list because. The guitar work is crazy again, had that crazy tempo change that I've heard a million times listening to a million bands. And what I do sometimes when I think I'm being smart, and lo and behold, this guy did it 30, 40 years before I was even born.
Oh.
It's like, this guy just blows me away. You know, we had some guitar aficionados in the, what do you call it? In the chat or whatever. In the comment section after the last one, they're like, Tony Iommi isn't really that good at the guitar, blah blah blah. They were saying he was good, but they were saying I was overhyping him. Look, here's what I'm saying. Like Michael Jordan, for example, right? Michael Jordan. There were other, you know, Bill Russell had 11 titles. Bill Russell had a higher average than Michael Jordan. But everybody kind of looks at Bill Russell and goes, yeah, you were 7'5" playing against, you know, 3'2" Lilliputians. Like, obviously, they kind of look at it. So, I understand that there might be a Jimi Hendrix who's technically better than Tony in all aspects, but when you're looking at Jordan, you're talking about winning titles and the way that he did it and the way that he advanced the game of basketball.
Yeah.
And this guy creates an entire genre and pretty much creates, I don't know, 15 genres with his different... Like, it just seems to me that he got into a certain mood. He's like, okay, I'm going to invent doom metal here. And then he's in another mood. Oh, I'm going to invent this type of metal. Like, it just is mind-blowing to me that one guy can do that just on... For me, it just looks like random moods. You just... I just felt slow today. We're going to do sludge. I don't know.
Lucky him.
So this guy, to me, is a Michael Jordan, right? So you can... There are other guys who did things better than Michael Jordan, but I'm talking about the total package. This guy's amazing.
What did you think when he got to the fridge? Don't you think I know what I'm doing?
Drink.
Don't tell me it's doing me wrong. You're the one that's the loser. Where I feel I belong. Right.
Yeah, that, especially the way that you did it, that to me was, I felt like I was watching an argument between Dorian and Johan.
Yes!
And that Johan was making the argument.
Yeah. Johan's our younger.
I mean, this is kind of someone right in the throes of the addiction, right? Like, you know, and it's funny because right there is where it kind of slings over to now it's in you're almost talking like you're in a relationship with this substance because he's don't tell me that it's doing me wrong, which is usually something you reserve for know, actual human beings.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's too bad. You don't have to tip it, babe. You're like, I think you always have to tip it. You're going to make it so
I keep forgetting. It's just like the baby.
Kiss the world with winter flowers, turn my days to frozen hours.
Yeah.
I don't know. See, I can't relate with this song because, like, I have such a like love-hate relationship with substances. You know, there's obviously the intense substances that are like, oh my gosh, and I've seen the path of destruction that they've laid behind them and in front of them, because some people fear the future because what they see with the person, if they're with somebody that's, you know, it's just destruction. There's so much destruction. So there's that aspect of it, and just seeing like, oh God, it's so sad when you see someone at like a healthy weight and then you see them just drop down to skin and bones, and then they kind of, you know, when they come out of it, then they kind of may get back to a healthy weight again. And even if they're a little overweight, you celebrate it because you're like, well, you know that they're, you know, they're not using that drug right now, so you feel good, like you feel like, okay, maybe they're all right. And then all of a sudden you start seeing them lose weight, but then they tell you, well, yeah, I've been trying to work out because I don't want, you know, I don't want, and then they keep going, and then you realize, no, that's not working out. Now you're back down to scrawny. It's just, so there's that aspect of it. Plus,
Yeah, I don't think any of our folks were doing cocaine. I think they were all pretty, it was either weed or heroin.
Heroin, yeah.
And it was, I mean, the ones that were in trouble, the ones with that situation, it was all it was always heroin.
You see, and I don't know the difference between heroin and cocaine.
Yeah, heroin.
I don't know, is one more destructive? Heroin.
Yeah, heroin is more destructive than cocaine, for sure. For sure.
But cocaine can be pretty.
Cocaine, I mean.
Don't people get like? Can't you kind of like get crazy on cocaine?
Well, I mean, the one thing that I remember.
I'm asking you like you're an expert.
Well, I'm not an expert. There was only 2 times when I've ever had an experience like a before and after with somebody on cocaine, and on the after, they were like, they felt like they were Superman. They felt like they could, you know, whatever.
Cocaine and crack are the same thing.
Yeah, I think crack.
And then that's what they use when they're in college. Sometimes?
Crack is a cooked form of cocaine. I think cocaine is like the more refined powder, but that's what he was saying. He was just like, oh, I'm the king of the world, and we were like, all right, man, yeah, we're all dancing in the club, but he was like, he really felt like he.
Yeah.
When he told us the next day, like he was telling us, like, no, like I felt like I was the strongest person in the room.
Okay, so when they say like,
so like he was.
You see these memes sometimes about like fighting someone that's on crack, and it's like impossible because they keep coming back up.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. Well, well, I mean, again, there was no altercation or anything. We were just in the club.
But
he just kept. I mean, he was dancing like crazy. I mean, he was, you know. I didn't feel like he wasn't completely himself. You know, like when people come in and they're like, they just shut up, and it's like obvious that they're like, it was kind of like, yeah, that's.
Did he remember everything?
Yeah. But he was just telling us, it was more, we weren't asking him like the details of the night, we were just asking him like, what did you feel like, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Like he was kind of like a science experiment or something. But the only thing I remember like that really stuck with me was he's like, no, I felt like, you know, like if you would have dared me to lift the table with one arm with 5 people on it, he would have been like flabbergasted if he couldn't. He's like, I probably would have broke my arm trying to do it. Like, that's what he was saying. Like when he was at the, I was like, all right. And then someone said, you want to try some? And the guy goes,
like that?
And the guy goes, Vin doesn't need that to think like that of himself.
That's what I was wondering. Good point.
So there you go. A little self-confidence, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. So lyrically, it's actually pretty beautiful if you think about it lyrically. But he's again selling the joys of cocaine, which, you know, I'm not very conflicted about cocaine, because it might be that I'm brainwashed by the Just Say No campaign or whatever. Okay, I get it, but I don't think something like that should ever be promoted. But I do think stuff like, when I listen to Terrence McKenna talk about DMT, I just listened to Joe Rogan last night. When I hear that, I'm like, okay, that's where the immediate impulse to be like, oh my God, it's a drug, it's bad. That's where I'm like, okay, where the brainwashing comes in, where it's like, that's something I actually think should be in the mainstream. Because it's kind of like, people have like 3 or 4 of these hits of this thing, and they come out with these ridiculous, life-changing things, and they don't have to go to therapy for, you know, a billion years, etc., etc. So, like,
so scary sounding.
Yeah. So I'm like,
I know that if I did something like that,
if they made a song about
all
that,
those demons.
If they made a song about that, then, well, it's funny because, you know, there's like 100,000 different variations of plants in the Amazon, and so Rogan was asking how the hell, because one of them is the DMT itself, and then you have the leaf for the ayahuasca, which basically there's a valve in your cells or whatever that when you get flooded with DMT, it inhibits it so it doesn't spread into your body.
Yeah.
And so that happens naturally within your body. Well, they boil this plant, and the plant functions, I think, as a basically it shuts off that valve so the DMT can go into your bloodstream and yada yada yada. So they were saying that these are the only two possible plants for that to work. So it's like, how the hell did they find that out? And I think it was Graham Hancock was on the show last night, and he said, well, if you talk to any of the shaman, they will tell you that there is a spirit behind the drug, the vine, and that she uses that vine as a simple portal between worlds, and she told
them to combine them.
Right. Because the odds are insane. And then, sure enough, you do end up meeting with, whatever. So that stuff, I feel like if you wanted to make a song about that, and I'm not saying anybody should do it. Yeah, I've never done it. I'm not saying anybody should do it. I'm saying if you want to make a song like extolling the joys of a certain drug, like something like that, I understand. But cocaine, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it because I feel like it can only have bad effects on you.
So scary.
You know what I mean?
I feel like that if we both tried DMT, that you would come out of it and you'd be like, you'd have like this epiphany. It would be like this amazing thing for you. I feel like that you would deal with some of your demons, but at the same time you would come out like, I don't know, like me. I feel like I'd be huddled in the corner and they'd have to like give me therapy to get out of it. Like I feel like I'd be like partially crazy because I feel like it'd be nothing but terror after terror after terror. There's a show that I'm watching. Well, you're not watching it because you didn't seem very interested in it. But
the Lock and Key one?
Well, I wasn't going to tell them because I'm about to. Well, if you don't want a spoiler, don't listen. One of the keys lets them get into their own head, and like when the girl goes into her own head, there's like this demon thing that like comes after her brother, and it's like freaky. And I thought to myself, but when she gets into her head, it's like a nice little mall at first, and I would not go in my own head. I wouldn't do it. If I had a key right now, I'd send you in. I'd say go in there.
Into your head?
Go in there and see if you can figure something out. I'm not going in there. No way. I'm not going in there. I have way too many things that I lie to myself about and that I don't deal with, and that place is probably loaded with them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's
that DMT would force me to deal with them all at the same time. No.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, that's the other thing about DMT is like people are like they have to build themselves up to do it. It's not like a habit, type of thing. So if
it's not something you do every weekend. They do it once in a while, right?
Yeah, and people like they're scared to death of doing it. They're not.
No.
Yeah,
no,
they're not fans of doing it. So my point is, if you wanted to make a song extolling the virtues of a substance, I feel like that one would be a good one. This one, not so much.
Oh boy.
This one, and I'm sure if there are tons of songs in the Ozzy catalog that talk about the downside of this, right? 1972, I don't know, they must have just started. I mean, volume 4, my lord, that was their 4th record. Maybe he's still in his 20s at this point, and he's rich, and there's nothing, and so he doesn't see any negative consequences for it. But I'm certain there are probably 3 or 4 post, Snowblind Ozzy songs where that's not the case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this is 1972, so. Yeah. Yep. Well.
What do you give the song?
I can't give it a good rating because, as in, I can't give it a fair rating because I can't separate myself from the fact that I don't like them, like glorifying this drug. And I get what you're saying, like maybe we didn't see a lot of people on cocaine. You're saying that it was all heroin and stuff, but I still, it's all lumped together for me.
It is for me too, because like I said, the war on drugs.
So I didn't even really hear. It seemed like it didn't go a whole lot of places musically, but maybe it did. Maybe it's that I felt like I was trapped inside this song where we were just singing about cocaine. I don't know. I really don't know. So for me, it's like a 7, and maybe
A
this
7?
Yeah, maybe this is like an amazing. It should be an 11. I don't know, but to me, it's a 7 because I can't. That's the thing. A lot of my ratings are emotional ratings. It's how I personally feel about the song, and I don't like singing about that because I don't want people's lives ruined. I don't want somebody to hear this song. I don't want somebody to hear this review of ours and be like, "Oh yeah, the snow." You know what I mean? And then like.
I doubt very highly that people would begin
Start calling up some black guy that's just trying to buy a TV, ask him he's a drug dealer or something.
Yeah, you see what you did there?
That's for you, buddy.
That's for you. Shout out to the big homie. This is a 9.89999 for me. This is a very, very good song because of Tony Iommi. I gotta say, I just... Every time he plays, especially if it's a new song, I love him even more than before. Well. And then I love the solo at the end. It sounded Hendrixy to me. I know. Anytime I put Iommi and Hendrix together, people are always mad at me. I understand. He's the guy. I get it. I'm just talking about for me. So anyway, 9.89. You are crazy. You probably just ingested a bunch of cocaine if you're going to say... If you're gonna say that, you're saying this song is a 7? You're saying this song is a 7?
Yes.
And you're using coke while you're pregnant with my child?
This is such an ugly maternity shirt, right?
Very
if anybody
ugly.
knows where you can get cute maternity clothes,
I have no idea why you decided to wear that shirt.
Please let me know. I don't have any that are short sleeves.
Wear a short secret shirt.
Well, my belly pokes out the bottom and I don't like it.
The camera didn't poke.
But we have children in the house.
So?
Don't get me like, you're walking around in your shame.
Unbelievable.
Anyway.
Been out.
Sorry out.
Gone.
Bye.